Welcome to CBC Business Outlook. We talk about everything economical, everything that influences our financial stance. That is Business Outlook, and definitely we're here to discuss various issues. Today, we're talking about a sector that most people locally sometimes don't feel, it affects them, but it actually does. And it's very lucrative when you look at it. But also, it's very beneficial in two ways. You might gain from it financially, or you can actually enjoy it. And that is the tourism sector. And there's also a tourism and travel marketing initiative going on. That's a TTMI, which has also launched a nomination and a program, an exercise for Zambia's Tourism and Travel Awards of 2020. And who best, other than this lovely gentleman you can actually see. I wish you could actually see him after this. But definitely, it's still a pleasure to have him on the program. Mr. Brian Matambo, who's the director for Techpro. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic. Now, before we delve deep into what tourism is about and what we're focusing on, domestic tourism, tell us a bit about Techpro.
Well, Techpro is a company that we started a number of years ago that focuses mainly on online marketing and content creation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the space in which Techpro actually operates. That's online marketing and content creation. So we create videos, we create blog posts, and just the whole estate of content creation, and then we also do online marketing and that kind of business.
Fantastic. So I believe now you've linked it to tourism and travel. How's that working?
Yes, it's a niche that we have that we've been operating in. So we've been creating content for the tourism sector, and we've been doing online marketing for the tourism sector. We've worked with many partners in that space. So it's probably an area where we feel like we are needed most there, because there's a great need to market tourism in Zambia.
That sounds wonderful. But also, I believe now that we're talking tourism, we're also talking about what tourism is about. Maybe you could, in your words, help us define tourism quickly. What do you think tourism stands for here?
Well, I think in a layman's language, tourism is really an experience of you basically enjoying the environment.
Yes.
Basically, that's what. But the whole process. Let me break it down this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you get up, you go to another town.
Yeah.
And you stay there for a couple of days. You're basically a tourist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really?
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tourism is connected to traveling out to another location. So there are three types of tourism. There's local tourism, there's domestic tourism, and then there's international tourism. So local tourism means that you get out of your house, and within your locality you go to look at a park or something, or maybe you go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's a form of tourism. Domestic tourism means that you go out of your town, you go to another town within your country. For example, you leave Lusaka, you go to Livingston, you look at the Victoria Falls. That's domestic tourism.
Wow.
International tourism means that probably friends or foreigners come from outside the country to come and look at our culture, our wildlife, maybe our natural resources, and just to enjoy that kind of environment. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you've mentioned the three types of tourism: local, domestic, and international tourism, or foreign. But I think our main focus, our main item today is domestic tourism.
Exactly.
Why do we need to encourage people, or why do people need to focus on domestic tourism today? I mean, I know there's COVID-19, but the main focus, why are we looking at it?
I'll tell you something that I've ended up learning, probably the hard way because of COVID-19, in the last 5-6 years that we've been involved in the tourism space. Domestic tourism in Zambia has not gotten the attention that it really deserves. Okay, you see, I have a lot of friends who travel out of the country for holidays to Mauritius, to Seychelles, to Zanzibar, to France, and all kinds of different places. They go visit Dubai and so on and so forth. But if you ask them if they've been to the Kafue National Park to look at the lions,
They don't know.
They don't know. If you ask them, for example, if they've been to maybe even just Siavonga or to Lower Zambezi, they don't even know the direction. So we found ourselves in a situation where when we need to take know where you're located and that you exist and that you've got good products, they're not going to come. If you've got a boat cruise, for example, and people don't know, it's going to be empty every day until you market on the radio stations, on TV, in newspapers. That's when people realize you exist, and then they can decide to come. So those stimulus packages have to be brought down to where people can access them at good rates and so on and so forth, whatever needs to be done for operators to actually easily access those funds. Unfortunately, what I've observed personally is that much of that stimulus package requires for you to get the loan just like before, and there is not much that has changed. So if that could change, so that it is easier for companies to access those funds and not feel like they're getting into a Shiloh kind of arrangement, then probably that's going to be effective.
So they need to ease up certain conditions.
Exactly, because business is not as usual right now. Things have changed. Even when we market hard in these COVID times, it's not going to be as good as it would have been if there was no COVID. Now imagine before COVID, the tourism sector was still lagging behind.
Yeah.
So now with COVID, it's double trouble really for the tourism sector. So I feel like probably a little more needs to be done to just ease up the pressure and then get the marketing going so that people could actually turn to tourism as a way of spending their money.
So tourism is a very lucrative source of income for the country, I believe.
Yes, it is, especially when international tourism is up and running. It's very possible that you could see quite some income on the national level. If you had like numbers that we've been looking at, if you had 5 million tourists coming to Zambia, you're talking about in excess of about 13 billion US dollars annual income in direct, indirect, and induced income in the tourism sector. So these are things that need to inspire us to see, look, if we had more tourists coming, we will achieve more goals as a country in terms of getting income. And the problem that we have in this country is that we see that situation and we're waiting for someone to do something about it. But until people start saying, oh, okay, so let's do something. Let's take the step. Let's take the first steps. What needs to be done? And I'm glad that we're seeing new airports coming up. Okay, we saw recently, a new conference center being launched at Mungushi,
yes.
and more activities in that space, even in Livingstone and so on and so forth, because that is going to give us a state where international organizations can hold their events here, and you have that MICE package in tourism also benefiting. So it's gonna be that kind of investing that has to continue happening for us to really attract more numbers to come into Zambia. And then there's been situations where we've seen South Africa advertising the Victoria Falls as if it belongs to South Africa because we can't market it ourselves, and that has to change. And people think that marketing is free. It's probably the most expensive thing a business can engage in, marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine Coca-Cola, how expensive and profitable Coca-Cola is as a company. But look at their annual budget for marketing. No one beats them. Nobody beats them. So it's already known, it's already up there, it's a big business, but they still market hard. What does that tell you? If you're a small business, then you need to market twice as hard to just match up. So we can't relent on the idea of marketing. And I believe that's what Techpro is trying to do. Go into that space and make sure that people know that there's a museum around, that there's a national park here, that you can enjoy these packages and so on and so forth. That word has to go out.
Now, I'm glad you've touched on that. Now, tell us about the current promo that's been going on, the Travel and Tourism Awards.
So, well, the Tourism Awards, which were supposed to be held on the 1st of August, will now be held later in the year, and I'll share the details. But what happened was that as we just started rolling it out, COVID happened, and we thought it would take a month, and it went to 2 months, and then it just left us out there in the cold, and we didn't know how to do so. after we've understood how to deal with COVID and so on and so forth, we decided to just change some things around the program. So the Tourism Awards will be a virtual event that will be streamed on television and on social media. And the idea is to get the operators onto the awards and to get the general public to engage with the program. So we'll have a short code that people will be using to engage with the program. So we're going to have a show that's going to kick off all this program. It's called the Tourism Show. In the Tourism Show, operators will provide that. We'll have videos from different operators and so on and so different tourism products. And as people see those, and they can interact, and that's what we want. We want that interaction to take place between the public and the operators, so that they begin to there's that relationship, and there's that information that's being shared.
Indeed.
And then the tourism show will lead into the Tourism Awards, and the awards are going to recognize operators in the tourism sector that have been offering excellent service and just to encourage them and to market them. So it's a marketing platform really for the tourism sector, and we're hoping that it's going to open doors for some operators out there who've never been known to really come out and be known, because there's so much beauty out there.
Well, we're hoping that tourism show comes to CBC television. Then you'll be reaching out widely.
Well, we can talk about that.
Yes, definitely.
You definitely, because this is an exciting program. Okay, there are prizes that are lined up for, and the more information is available on our website, because I can't go in all the details, but our website www.tourismict.com. You find the information there, but viewers will have an opportunity to win holiday trips. They will have opportunity to win prizes like cars and residential plots and smartphones and smart TVs, I believe, and laptops and cash prizes and shopping vouchers and all kinds of stuff. And with a lot of sponsors that have come on board, so there'll be those prizes. So because of those prizes, we are incentivizing that engagement. So as the public engages with a show, they know that they are getting away with something, the free holiday with a winnable prize here and there. Okay, so that's one area. The other angle is that the operators themselves will now be able to market to a really wide audience. And we're targeting 15 to 20 million views on social media, and we're trying to see if we can get at least a minimum of 3 million views from television. So if you want to be part of this, we can talk.
We're already a part of it.
So we can talk about what those numbers mean for you. So essentially, with that kind of a platform, backpackers and lodges and hotels and restaurants and adventure companies and tour operators can market themselves. Okay, they can market themselves, and they are paying just a very small commitment fee, because we don't want to hinder any operator from coming on board. You see, so we are not going into this to try and make money, and so no, we're trying to market tourism, and this is the reason why we are working with the leaders in the sector, from the Ministry of Tourism themselves, the Zambia Tourism Agency, the Tourism Council of Zambia, the Zambia Association of Tour Operators, the Livingston Tourism Association, and many sector players, and we're involved with them and working together to make sure that we do this for the sector. It desperately needs something to take place.
Indeed.
To get people excited about domestic tourism and to get them to get out of their homes and enjoy some tourism products.
Brian, I wish we could talk much longer, but thank you so much for joining us today. And hopefully the viewers out there have got the message, and do look out for that programming, and you still get to see more of Brian on Business Outlook as we discuss tourism at a further stage, and other factors actually being concentrated on. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.